A brand new free AI agent just dropped from China and it builds complete working apps really quickly. No coding needed. Just type in what you need in plain English, like you see right here. This is actually a game we built out using Minimax, as you can see. And you can also see we've built out websites here and you can kind of vibe code with it. It looks pretty cool. Let me show you an example. So, this is actually a website we designed using Minimax 2.1. And I'm going to show you exactly how to use it today, plus how to use it for free by hosting it locally. And it's pretty simple and easy. You see, you can also generate videos, for example, like this one. And it's actually a really impressive model, as you can see right here. So today I'm going to show you how to build landing pages that get you leads without touching code. I want to show you how to create customer dashboards without hiring developers. You'll learn how to make games and apps just using words. And you'll get the exact 30-day system to go from zero to having your own AI built tools, specifically with Minimax. Even if you've never coded a single line in your life, even if you think AI is too technical for you, even if you've tried other tools and they didn't work, this one is different. Let me show you why. I'm going to get straight into this. If you have any questions as we go along, feel free to ask. That's what I'm here for, my friends. And there's a few ways you can access this. So if you go over to Minimax here, we can go to minimax.io, as you can see, and you can get access to Minimax directly here. It actually has a link at the top to Minimax 2.1, plus it's got other video models as well that you can use inside Minimax. And if we go back to the video notes from today, this is inside the AI Success Lab, completely free, link in the comments description, comes with a community of 40,000 members. You can actually get the video notes, as you can see right here, for free inside the December section. And inside here, you can get all the video notes plus the examples of stuff that I built right here, right? So I'm going to talk about the Minimax Momentum method. This is my simple 5-step system for turning plain English into working apps that help you get more customers or more leads, etc. So first step is you're going to tell the AI what you want in simple steps. So for example, if we go to Minimax over here, we're going to go to new task. We're going to use Minimax 2.1. We can switch between these different apps like you see, and I'm actually going to click on websites and then you just tell it what you want, right? So for example, here you can actually see there's some pre-built prompts, right? And you can switch between schedules, websites, research, videos. You've got AI, PowerPoint, image generation, and education, right? So for example, here, you can actually view the gallery and you can see what people have done with it previously. So if you want to remix this stuff, that's one of the easiest ways to do it. Or you can just go back to the top and then type in exactly what you want. Also, you can see what people have built with this bad boy. If we go to Google and we type in site minimax.io, you can see all the recent stuff that's like this. And then you can actually go to like the past week and just see what's been built. All right, so you can see what people have built directly with Minimax, as you can see right here, and it's pretty powerful. Now, let's say, for example, we wanted to build out a game, right? Well, we've got all these different games as examples like this, so we can actually click on Remix here, and we can use credits to build this out. You actually do get free credits when you sign up to Minimax, but if you want to use it in other ways, I'll show you a way to host it locally in a second as well. And here's the prompt, right? And we can open it up. As we can see, we've got the game over here. So if we go back to new task over here, I'm going to say, okay, build out a website from SEO agency. We can start using this like so. All right. And basically, this is how it works. So speak it. So you tell the AI what you want in simple words. You see it, you watch it build your app in real time. You're going to test it. So click around, just actually make sure it works. Step number 4 for vibe coding anything with Minimax 2.1 is to tweak it. So you ask the AI to change anything that you don't like. And then finally, you just want to ship it, right? So just download your app and start using it today. Now, if you're wondering, okay, what is Minimax M2.1? Minimax is a Chinese AI company. They've just released their newest model called M2.1, right? And it came out on December the 23rd, 2025. So it's pretty much brand new. It just came out this week. And, whilst all the other companies have sort of taking the holidays, Minimax came out with this new model, which is pretty cool. And you can see here's what makes it special. So it builds complete working applications. It's free if you host it locally. It creates websites, dashboards, games, tools, etc. It does have a GitHub, so you can actually use it open source. No coding needed, no coding knowledge needed either. You can talk to it in plain English. and the apps pretty much work straight away today, right? And this is not like ChatGPT where you get code to copy and paste. Minimax actually creates the websites for you live right away. All right. So for example, if we take this prompt, this is example one. I'm going to go to Minimax like so. Make sure you selected M2.1. Then we're going to say build a landing page for my AO coaching community, right? With testimonials and a sign up form. And then I'll actually start building this out, right? That's one of the ways you can start using this. And if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to ask. Sporter says, step 6, boom shakalaka. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And then you can watch it. Just create an app in seconds. If you want to see an example of what that looks like, here's a beautiful example of a page it created. And this is interesting. If you want to see what Manus created, which is another sort of AI super agent, right? These are both AI super agents. So you can see here, for example, this is the page that Manus built, and it is pretty nice, right? But it doesn't look as modern and as cool as this one, right? So this is the page from Minimax. As you can see, it inserts like some beautiful diagrams. The font is pretty cool. It's got some nice, actually, like has stuff like this at the top, which is cool. And it's like why top agencies to join in, blah blah blah. It's written all the sales copy, added some testimonials. I think these are real testimonials as well, as far as I'm aware. And then it's got some information about me, right? And it just collected and built that all together. Even researched, okay, what's the pricing right now? And then went off and researched it and added some FAQs at the bottom as well. It looks super nice, right? And so you can easily automate these beautiful websites using this process. Now, let me show you how to host this locally for free as well if you want to get access for free. So the way you would actually do this, let me show you an example, is you can use Olama, right? Olama runs locally, and then you can run this cloud model for free, right? And it actually runs in your terminal, right? So let me show you how this works, okay? So what you're going to do first of all is you would go to Olama.com, and then you're going to download Olama like so, right? Download that. That's going to run locally, and you can see I've got it open. So make sure once you've downloaded it, then you have it open. If you know how to open it, you just type in Olama once you've installed it and open up Olama 2, right? Like you can see right here. And then what you can actually do here is you can switch between the models, right? So you can see these are cloud models. These are cloud-based models, right? And so you can actually use these for free. Like for example, I don't pay for this, but the only difference here is that you actually, when you're using this, you have limited usage, right? So you get an hourly and a weekly usage limit for cloud usage. So if you're using a cloud model, like for example, Minimax 2.1, right? And all you do is you type in Minimax here, and you can see Minimax M2.1, and this is updated 4 days ago. You can start using this. Now, how do you use this? All right, let me show you how, right? So once, let me close this down. We'll close the llama, we'll close terminal, okay? So what you would do, make sure, and I'll show you how to do this from start sheet. All right, so you're gonna type in Llama 2 latency here, that's gonna open up, right? And then you're gonna grab this, open up terminal, so press Command and space, that will open up the search bar, type in terminal here, and then from here you type in the model that you want to use. Now, if you want to use it directly inside the terminal like this, you can use the cloud-based model from MT1 inside here, right? But if you prefer to use it inside Llama, well, they actually have this nice UI, right? And you can switch between the models down here. So you can see that you've got a bunch of cloud models here, and then also you can download different models as well for free, right? But Minimax M2.1 is cloud-based. And then, for example, you can go inside here, just say, okay, are you working? And then it's actually a thinking model, right? So you can see here it's a thinking model. It's like, yes, I'm working and I'm ready to help. How can I help you, right? So that's how you can host it and use it online for free. And then you can just make sure that you stick within the token limits, and that way you don't pay for it, right? Pretty cool. So let's talk about, okay, why is it good? Well, one of the main things is like it's optimized for vibe and app coding. Bear in mind, like when you're using Olama, you don't just use it inside here, but you can also code with it locally inside other tools. So for example, you could connect this to VS Code, for example. That would be one option. And then it's also got thinking and instructions, and it's a very lightweight model, but probably state of the art as well. And then you can see how it performs against many other benchmarks. It actually performs really, really well, right? So if we have a look at the benchmarks here, you got Minimax 2.1 right at the top. That outperforms Minimax M2. And bear in mind, you can use this for free, like I was saying, but look at the SWE bench verified benchmarks here, right? So this is Minimax M2.1, which you can run locally. But then if you compare that to Gemini 3 Pro, like it's actually very, very close, and it absolutely outperforms GLAM 4.6, right? If we have a look here as well, it's up there with Claude Opus, the 74 versus 80, and it's right up there with GPT 5.2 as well. Now, here's where it gets interesting. So multi-SWE benchmarks, right? So these are like software engineering. What you can see here is that Minimax 2.1 is pretty much the same as Claude Opus, but Claude Opus is a paid API. This is a free API, right? Gemini 3 Pro actually underperforms versus Minimax. And then if we have a look at the other benchmarks here, this is where it also gets interesting. SWE Bench Multilingual, right? 72.5 it scores versus 68 on Claude Sonnet, 77.5, 65 on Gemini Pro. So Minimax outperforms it by quite a long way. And then it's right on par with GPT 5.2. So on many of the benchmarks, it's actually outperforming many of these other models. Obviously, compared to like all the local models like this, you can see it outperforms everything by a very long way. And yeah, it's a super powerful model you can easily start using today. So we've got this playbook built out like so. What else can we do? So if we have a look here, we've actually got the new website that we set up, right? So this is the one where we said build a landing page for my AI coaching community with testimonials and a sign up form, and it has completed the deployment. Now, what I also like about this is different to most other tools, is that it actually just automatically deploys it on a nice little URL like you can see right here, right? So this is the page we built out. Now it's clean, it looks nice, is pretty easy to use. It's got the nice little sign up form. It's written all the copy. It's built out the website. And literally all we were doing was just testing out something else in the background, right? And so we can actually change the settings here. So we can connect a custom domain. So, you know, for example, for me, I could put like juliangoldie.community.com. You can also remove the watermark as well if you're on the VIP package of Minimax. And then you can start building out with this, right? But it's a very impressive model. Now, let's go back to the 30-day plan. So what we can also do is we could say, okay, you know, customer dashboard, right? So build a support ticket system, create tracking, response times, everything. And we'll go over to Minimax like so and start building this out, right? So we'll say build a customer dashboard. All right. And then you can start building out like these sort of projects as well. Now, bear in mind, if you're on the free plan, I'm on the basic plan. So, you know, it doesn't use too many credits and it doesn't come with too many credits. But if you want to use it completely for free, then you would just stick to Olama. You can use it inside Minimax for free, but you get very limited credits. And if you're on the paid plan, then obviously you get more credits. It's got like 3 different structures on the plan. We've talked about the website that we just built here. This was another nice website we built with it. This was the old website with Manus, which looks a lot more dated in comparison. What else we got? Yeah, it can also create videos like so. So I actually said, I'd love a heartwarming video of a fluffy golden retriever puppy running towards the camera in a sunlit park. Use slow motion to capture its floppy ears, bouncing, and a happy expression. The lighting should be golden hour style, soft and dreamy, highlighting the golden fur, right? And then we've actually got the video itself over here, and it looks really realistic, right? It looks pretty impressive. Let's just have a look at some of the questions we got here. So Ashton says, love it, man. Good to see you here. Good morning also to you too, sir. Tariq says, good. Ozar says, hi there. Glad to see Julian Goldie live. Good to see you here. Liveook says, what's up, man? Good to see you. And Ozea says, can you share what are the link building techniques that are working best at the moment? Go to juliangoldie.com. You find all my best link building training inside there. That's the best way to find this stuff. So, yeah, if you check out the link building mastery book on juliangoldie.com, you'll be able to check all this stuff out. So let's keep going through now. And you can see that we've built out the video here, right? So this is an example. And then if we go back to this task, it's beginning to build out the dashboard. Now, what else can you do this? We can also, for example, create video content like I've shown you with the puppy video. You can create research tools. And let's try something else now. So I'm going to say, okay, create a client reporting tool with traffic charts. So we'll open up a new task, plug this in, run that. Now, it may ask you some questions. So, you can leave this running in the background, but just be aware, like it might ask you some questions as it's going through it. So be prepared to check back occasionally to have a look at this stuff and see what it's doing. This is a research report that I actually built as well. So you can see it did a lot of deep research on the right-hand side and then came back with an answer over here. Let's see what else we got. So, I mean, the way that I would get started with this is like go to agent.minimax.io, create your free account. You get a few credits at the start, and then you can say something like, just show me what you can build by building a simple Hello World app, right? Something like that. Now, if you go to this section, this is a Minimax agent showcase, right? And so you can actually discover all the stuff that is built. By the way, all the links are inside the AI Success Lab today. But if you want to check this out, this is inside the Minimax showcase. So let's check out what is built before. This is a 3-minute meditation audio generation, right? So we can actually play this back and we can see how it created the audio. Plus, we can have a look at this right here. Now, if we actually go to the result, what we've actually got is inside the current process here, we have the audio files that we can use for the meditation, right? So you can actually create audio, as you can see, which is pretty amazing right here, right? If we go back, what we can also see is it's created a law firm website for Better Call Saul, right? So we'll play that out. Again, you can just click go to result, skip straight to it, and then you can view and preview the files right here, right? So it's created the files. Here's some examples. And then you can take a look at that, as you can see, right? If we have a look at the homepage content, here we go. This is the full website. So there's some pretty cool stuff that you can build with this. You can create audio websites, apps, games, dashboards, etc. As you can see, it can build multiple projects at the same time as well. And the way that I would start with this is just build something simple and then keep going from there, right? Now, we could do something like, okay, create a type of calculator that could be a calculator for price estimations or a quiz, etc. And then you can customize these prompts to your business, right? Let me show you how that works. So if we go over here, we'll go inside this and we'll say, okay, create an SEO quiz for my SEO agency to generate leads, right? And we can start beginning to build that project out as well, right? And we can just build loads of different projects at the same time using this process. And then, day 7, I would refine this. So go back to your creations, ask for improvements, share inside the AI Profit Boardroom as well. And then, if you need to improve something, you can just say, like, make this more professional, better colors and spacing, and then just go from there. All right. Now, what you can also do is you can build like lead capture forms as well. So if we go to Minimax here, we can say, okay, build a lead capture form that asks for name, email, phone, biggest challenge, etc. You can also do this inside Llama here too. So you can do the same thing. And I'll actually build and code this out, right? And bear in mind, this is going to be a lot faster than this. And the reason for that is like there's a lot more tools connected inside the Minimax agent, right? So the agent is using, for example, different MCPs, it's got different connections, etc. Whereas, for example, if you're using it directly inside Olama, like you can see, then this will actually code out the HTML for you, but it will react a lot faster, right? Because it's just like straight chat mode, if that makes sense. It's not messing around with all these different connections and tools and APIs and wrappers and everything else. So you can see that beginning to code out right there. And it is pretty fast when it's coding out as well. Plus, we haven't hit the limit yet, which is good. All right, so it's created that now. As you can see, this is the HTML that it's built out. Now, if we go back to the top here, we can actually copy the HTML and then we can preview it on something like Liveweave. As you can see, plug that in, delete that, and there you go. There's your lead form, right? And it's just coded out exactly as we wanted it, as you can see right here, right? Super simple and fast. So coding it out locally with Olama is pretty good too. We could also try, for example, creating like an appointment booking system. So we could say, create an appointment booking page with a calendar view, available time slots, and confirmation messages. All right, so let's plug that in, like so. And we can see now that we actually have the deployed customer dashboard, right? So before we said build a customer dashboard, build a support ticket system, etc. If we open this up, let's play this back. You can see we've got the customer dashboard right here. So it's got like examples of tickets, the customers inside there, the analytics, the settings, and the dashboard itself, right? And then if you click on new, you can add like new stuff inside there, right? You can put in your client or whatever, create the ticket. And then if we check back inside the ticket section, you can see that worked perfectly, right? This is like a full it's a full vibe coded customer dashboard. It's even got a notification section, an account section. You can download this as well. So you can actually download the CSV of all the tickets you've created for your customers. Inside this section, we've got details of our customers, who they are, recent tickets, priority distribution, ticket volume, etc. And then inside the analytics and the settings section, you need to code those out, but you'll basically get more information down there as well. Ozair says previously you were focused on NA10 for everything. I actually stopped using NA10. The reason for that is like it's just not very practical. And also APIs break, it gets expensive. It's really cool for showing like fun little videos you can create and stuff like that. But when it comes to an actual business use case, we don't really use NA10 at all. And I was like, well, if I don't use it, probably a lot of the people watching don't use it. And it's like, why are we even messing around with NA10? Right? Why don't we create something that actually grows our business? So, for example, like if you look at the videos or on YouTube, right, these AI avatar videos, or if you look at all the content on X, you know, bear in mind, like we'll reach, like, I mean, look at that, 250,000 people in one day on X. We don't use NA10 for this, right? Like we've got better automations than that, but simpler automations too. And I think with NA10, you kind of need to be quite technical to use it. And it's just not going to be practical for most people. So the stuff we teach inside the AI Profit Boardroom is not fully focused on NA10, but we do have automations for NA10 if you want to mess around with that stuff. But I think honestly, if you're a serious business owner, I don't think you're going to use NA10 that much, right? I just don't think it's that powerful. And I think most entrepreneurs are not technical enough to use it, right? It's going to get messy. So let's have a look here. We can also, for example, display our custom wins. So we could create like a testimonial showcase. So we'll say create a testimonial wall with cards, showing customer photos, quotes, results, etc. Make it professional, like a professional review website, right? So we'll go back to new task here. We're going to plug in this, and then over here we're going to take the. I'm actually going to say like, let's see if we can do this. Let's say scrape juliangolder.com for the testimonials. All right, I think you can actually scrape websites and search them in real time. So we'll say scrape juliangolder.com for the testimonials, then create this testimonial website. All right, so we'll plug that in, hit run like so, and that should begin to code that out. Now, if we go back over here, we've got the calendar booking page. So if you remember, we said create an appointment booking page with a calendar view, available time slots, and confirmation message. And then over here, we have this ready to go. All right, so this is the calendar booking page. It worked perfectly. Here's the information. We just type in our forms in the fields and then book it, right? And so we've basically built like our own SaaS tool for booking calendar appointments. And we did it in like, one prompt just whilst I was talking to you. Pretty nice, right? By the way, if you want like all the examples from today, if you want to test this stuff out, etc., get it inside the AI Success Lab, right? And it's completely free. Community with 40,800 members, as you can see, and inside the community, like you can post, you can interact with people, you connect with all these different people interested in AI automation. But also, if you go to the classroom here, go to December, right? You see all the video notes from today for every single update that I've recently covered, right? So these are all new updates, Titans, Gemini 3, GenSpark, etc., NotebookLM. And if you scroll down, you see all the video links from the examples that I've built today. As you can see the links for Olama. And then also if you scroll down here, you'll see like the 30-day plan plus the Minimax momentum method that I'm talking you through today. All right, so everything is inside the AI Success Lab, and that's completely free for you to check out. Link in the comments description. All right, so let's see what we got. Ashton says, I agree with the NA10 stuff. Check out Visual Code. Might check that out later. I think I stopped doing Visual Studio Code stuff because like it just wasn't popping on YouTube, if I remember correctly. Once you go, Ozer says, what do you prefer for digital marketing AI automation? So if you want to see like what I use personally, just check out the AI profit boardroom. Link in the comments description. Inside there, we run you through like all our best playbooks for this stuff. So for example, if you go to the playbook here, you'll see, okay, here's what we use for X. Here's what we use for newsletters. Here's what we use for shorts. Here's what we use for AI avatar videos, right? We also have a community section here where we do weekly updates, right? So I condense 80 hours of my work into 5 minutes as an update. And each week, what I'll do is I'll just share, okay, here's what's worth your time and here's what's not. Here's what's worth your time, here's what to skip, right? And that way, you know what's working right now, and you can just focus on the most important stuff. Ashton says, Docker and GitHub had an update, AI agent in it, updating your code and giving tasks. Nice, nice, might check that out. So that's basically it when it comes to Minimax and how to use it. For example, we've built out the calendar appointment. I showed you how it could create apps, dashboards, different tasks. You know, it's coding out this testimonial showcaser here. It created this full dashboard for customer service tickets, right? And also created this client traffic report system here as well, right? So you can like switch between the last 14 days, last 7 days, etc. Get your client's customer dashboard data right there. Pretty simple and easy to use. And then you know, you can create so many amazing things with this, videos, images, etc. So thanks so much for watching. The one thing I would say here is like, you know, why is this important? So the old way was like, if you had an idea for a tool or an app, you needed to hire a developer, wait weeks or months. It can get expensive. You get something that doesn't quite match your vision. You ask for changes and you wait more. And then by the time it's done, it's not even important anyway, right? Whereas the new way is you have an idea for a tool or app, you type it into Minimax, you get a working version in seconds, you test it right away, you ask for changes in plain English, the AI fixes it instantly, and you create the app the same day you have the idea, right? Game changer. So that's basically how Minimax works, how to use it, etc. And you know, some people say, well, I'm not technical enough. But the thing is about Minimax is like you don't need to be technical. Okay, like the whole point is you talk to it like a person. So you say, build me a landing page with a sign up form. It does it, no code, no technical knowledge, just plain English. And think about it like this: like when you go to a restaurant, you don't need to know how to cook. You just tell the waiter what you want. Minimax is the same. It's like having a developer who speaks your language. So you just describe what you want, it builds it for you, and the barrier to entry just disappeared. So if you want to get everything today, feel free to get it. Ashton says, I love your content. Thanks for giving people hope with showing how to actually do stuff. I'm happy to help, honestly, Ashton. You're a legend, mate. I like your energy, man. And you know, so other people say, well, what happens if it's too complicated to use, right? I mean, we've tested it today. You saw how we built that simple dashboard for example, like customer tickets and that sort of thing. You know, just type in what you want, watch what happens. If you can type a sentence, you can probably use this tool. All right. And this AI does all the complicated stuff. So you just describe what you want. And it's like telling someone what to draw, right? You don't need to know how to hold a pencil to tell someone what to draw, right? And so Isaiah says, can we use this for blogging automation? You certainly can, sir. So you would just go to Minimax, like so, new task, and then just type in what you want. So if we said, okay, build an AI SEO automation tool for creating blog posts, you can just type that in. Now, you might have to give it an API to generate the responses, but if you want to create like the first draft of it, that's how easy it is, right? Really simple and easy to use. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get access to this, it's all inside the AI Success Lab notes from today. As you can see, we've got all the examples and links. And then also, if you haven't already, check out the AI Profit Boardroom. Inside there, we've got an amazing community of people who are interested in AI. You know, for example, we actually have a daily accountability group, like you can see right here, where people post their goals, check in, say what they're going to do today, and then check back in later and you know, make sure they've done it. We've got, for example, all of these different things inside the community here where people post and we're really active. You know, you see how active this community is. It's amazing. And then inside the classroom here, you get access to, for example, like my 6-week AI automation roadmap that shows you how to go from complete beginner to expert in AI in just like 6 weeks, plus how to build your first AI agent in like 5 minutes. Top of that, you get my playbook with, for example, my best automations for X, newsletters, shorts, AI avatar videos, everything else. If you do like NA10, we have a full training here with all my best templates and workflows, right? So for example, like video based, scraping based, social media, audio, email, websites, etc. And then on top of that, inside the AI Profit Boardroom, you get access to my agency training course, coaching call recordings, AIC automations, YouTube AI automations, and also inside the calendar here, you can jump on 4 coaching calls a week with a PhD scientist trained in AI, right? So you can jump on with Dr. Jeff on those coaching calls, meet the community, ask any questions you have, get help and support in real time. And that's what we love about it. Isaiah says, thanks, man. Happy to help always. If you go back to Minimax now, it's actually starting to create that AI automation. As you can see, it will just build out that AI SEO tool here. Now, if you actually want to use, if you want to get some free tools for AI SEO, go to the classroom inside the AI Success Lab as well. And we have like over 53 AI SEO tools here as well, right? So if you want to learn this stuff as well, we have 53 AI SEO tools you can get access to inside the AI Success Lab. Link in the comments and description. Feel free to check it out. Supporter says, I hear you can make all the automations from NA10 in Claude Code now. Yeah, you can. And Kashi says, OMG. All right. Awesome. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Today, we are going to be testing Minimax 2.1 versus Google Gemini 3 versus Claude Opus to see which is the best AI coding tool. Now, if you've never used Minimax 2.1, you can actually get access directly on Minimax.io. And this is a new powerful AI agent that's great for coding, right? You can actually access it via API and you can access it inside the agent here. Now, when you use it inside the agent, you can get access to the videos and the content creation and everything else. You can create dashboards, you can build cool real tools like you see right here. This actually created a wall of testimonials scraping my website, as you can see. But we're also going to compare this against Gemini 3 Pro and Claude. Now, if you actually have a look at Minimax on the benchmarks here, this Chinese AI tool is pretty comparable on the benchmarks, right? It's very interesting to see that it's actually competing with some of the biggest tools in the world, but it's open source and you can run it locally, right? So you can see here, for example, Minimax 2.1, and you see how it performs versus Gemini 3 Pro and GPT 5.2 Thinking and Claude Opus. Now, what's interesting here is if we have a look here, we've got multi-SWE benchmarks, right? And Minimax 2.1 scores 49. If you have a look at the benchmarks here, Gemini 3 Pro only scores 42.7, Claude Opus is pretty much on par with Minimax at 50, and GPT 5.2 doesn't score on that, right? And you can see here also you got SWE Bench Multilingual 72.5 versus 65 and 72. So it's pretty interesting to see that these benchmarks are very, very close, but I never really pay attention to the benchmarks, to be honest with you. What I really care about is how do these models perform in reality. All right, so we're going to be comparing these models side by side, coding out with them, running a coding challenge, and seeing who performs the best. All right, so we're going to run this on OpenRouter to use the API. 'Cause if I use the agent directly inside the chat, it's going to be super slow, right? That's why I'm not using the agent inside the agent section. And I can access the API directly here, but I think the easiest way to use it is inside OpenRouter. Sporter says this should be a good showdown. I'm excited for this one too. And we're going to be testing this out. All right. So we're comparing Minimax versus Claude versus Gemini and seeing how they perform. Now, if you go to OpenRouter, we're going to grab some of the prompts from today. But basically, here's what you're going to learn today. All right. So you're going to see how to use all three of these. And by the way, I've promised to show you how to use them for free, right? Now, if you want to use them for free, what you want to do is download Antigravity, and you can use Claude Opus and Gemini 3 for free. If you want to use Minimax 2.1 for free, then what you want to do is check out Olama and then run Minimax on cloud, right? So if you get Olama here and then you type in Minimax, right, you can see Minimax 2.1 is available on cloud when you run Olama, and that's how you can run it for free. So you can check out all these models for free. We're going to look at which one is best for building apps, which one is best for writing content, which one is best for writing coding agents, which one saves you the most time, the exact prompts I use for each test, and how to pick the right AI for your business. All right. We got some good banter inside the chat here. Scully says Goldie, just in time for the showdown. Sporter says Scully, and Scully says Sporter. So we got a good banter going on here. Good to see the community going. All right. Now, even if you've never heard of Minimax before, even if you think AI coding is too hard, even if you're confused about which AI to use, by the end of this stream, you'll know exactly which AI to use for what, because we're going to test them out side by side. This is called the Goldie Battle framework that we're using. This is my simple system for picking the right AI for the job. I call it the battle framework, all right? So build test is what B stands for. So can it build a working app? Agent test is can it use tools and browse the web? Time test is how fast does it respond? Truth test is how accurate is it? Language test is how good is it at writing? Effort test, how much back and forth does it need? All right. We'll score each AI on these things separately today. We're going to start off with these tools. All right. And so we're going to go on to the AI now, and we'll test these out side by side. All right. So we're going to go inside Minimax and we'll say, tell me one thing about yourself that no other AI can do. All right. And we'll do the same inside Gemini and the same inside Claude Opus 4.5. And actually, I should be using Pro here. So I'm actually going to switch now. There we go. All right. Let's stop that. Run it again. So tell me one unique thing about yourself that no other AI can do. Let's see what we got. Scully says it's like watching the playoffs. I'm glad I'm on the same level of entertainment, mate. Thank you. So you can see here, for example, it says, I'm trained by a Chinese AI company. I have strong blah, blah, blah. One unique characteristic. My specialist tuning gave me some patterns in our approach, blah, blah, blah. All right. And it says the most honest answer is that it comes from a uniqueness combination of training data, particular response style, cutoff, and my developer's particular approach to AI safety. All right. So I quite like the way that it's displayed. The way that it writes is straight to the point, no fluff, etc. And Gemini is like, to be honest, mate, claiming that I can do something no other AI can do is pretty difficult because the field advances so rapidly. A feature is unique today that might be industry standard today. All right. And then it actually says my massive working memory is a big unique point. And I would agree with that, right? So, for example, Gemini has a context window of 1 to 2 million tokens, and I think it's 1 million. Whereas, for example, other AIs, like, for example, Claude only has a context window of something like 200k tokens, right? And so that gets kind of annoying. Now, if we actually have a look at Minimax here, you can see Minimax inside. Let's check out on OpenRouter. Minimax 2.1. So Minimax's token context window is 205,000 tokens. Claude is 200,000, and so Gemini genuinely has given the best answer for that so far. Right? Let's have a look here. I mean, like Claude is. This is a terrible answer. It says one thing that's genuinely distinctive. I can sit with uncertainty and nuance without rushing to resolve it. I mean, it's just what are we talking about here? I would say that Claude probably gave the worst answer. I would say the Gemini gave the best answer, and Minimax's was kind of mediocre, right? And Sporter says Minimax is tough, but he's on a llama. Not sure it can hang with Gemini. Yeah, so I mean, I'm going to use it on Open Router, which means I'm using the API directly. So we should get the best answers from that, the best outputs. Next up, let's do a simple writing test. So we're going to say, write a 3-sentence description of an SEO agency that helps businesses get more customers through Google. All right, plug that in. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Scully says, I do get annoyed with Claude in the context window. Yeah, I mean, one of the good things they actually solved it recently is like they can compress the memory inside the chat. So it never really runs out of context window if you're on the premium plan. But yeah, for sure. Like before, when it would just break and stop working, that was a nightmare. So it says, we help businesses. Okay, right. So that's one example. Let's see, Gemini, blah, blah, blah. Let's have a look at Minimax. So we help businesses track more customers through proven search engine optimization. I mean, these are all pretty boring responses. I don't really like that one so much. This one just feels like AI generated fluff. And then Claude, we help businesses shop first when customers search Google for what they sell. All right, that's probably the best description. I would say that Claude has won that just by a little tiny margin. I wouldn't say any of them were particularly impressive there. Scully says, I have to go with Claude on writing. I would agree with you. I think that Claude won it again. So just to recap here, we'll put this on a little table here. So Gemini first for unique thinking, right? Claude came first for writing. Let's see what else we got here. So if we go back to the prompts, I'm going to skip through some of these days just to give something more interesting. So I'm going to go to something a little bit more interesting now. Say create a Pomodoro timer app with 25-minute work sessions, 5-minute breaks, counter for complete sessions, and sound alerts. All right. So we'll copy that in. Go to, I could use the agent for that, but it's just going to take too long. It's going to take too long. Do you know what? We'll do it. We'll do it. If it doesn't perform in time, it's okay. I'll use it on the API as well. Then we're going to switch to interactive app over here. And we'll do this inside a new chat on Gemini using Canvas. And we'll do a new chat inside Claude. There we go. All right, so these are all coding out. We've got the agent. We have Open Router. We have Google Gemini. We have Claude as well. And we'll see which one performs the best. So Gemini has created something pretty nice right there. That's working nicely. We can reset that. We can skip it, skip that. It counts how many sessions we've completed. UI is super nice. Plus, we can easily share this as well. That is good. That is a good one, my friends. All right. Now, if you go to Claude, let's have a look here. Claude is still coding out, and Minimax is already finished. So let's have a look here what we got. Go on the preview, see if that's worked. I don't think that's worked at all, is it? That is no bueno. Now, having said that, we do have the AI agent building out on the left-hand side, so we'll wait for Minimax agent. That should be done pretty soon, I think. If you go back to Gemini, I think Gemini has created something really nice right there. Let's have a look at, this is Claude. So we can skip between them. We can reset the timer. It works perfectly. I would say the UI is still nicer on Gemini. Like, this looks a lot nicer than Claude's output. Both of them are functional, but one of the interesting things here is like it actually counts how many times this has been completed. So how many Pomodoro sessions you did, right? And I would say just by like a tiny little bit, Gemini 3 Pro has won it again there. So let's put this in. So we're going to put Gemini 1 for the Pomodoro app. And so we've completed 3 tests so far. Gemini's won 2 of them, and Minimax hasn't won any of them. Claude came first for 1 of them. All right. Now I've actually got the completed output from Minimax agent over here. So this is the agent. But like, look at that. The 25 doesn't even fit in the circle. We can switch between break and work. I do like the UI, but like, I mean, why has he got? Why is that not inside the circle, right? So even like the fundamentals of coding a UI are kind of being missed there. So again, I would keep the rankings as the same because, you know, Claude's UI was much nicer. Let's see what we got. So Sporter says, would AI Studio perform better, or is 3.0 the same? I tend to find that AI Studio, it creates more complex outputs. Sometimes it's more designed for building apps, but 3.0 is much faster and easier to deploy stuff, right? And it doesn't really require any technical skills. So far, you can see how we've done. Let's go on to the next prompt. We're now going to say, let's see what we can do here. Create a simple blog website with homepage. I'm actually going to go with something more interesting. So I'm going to say build a hyper pong game, right? Make the ball trail neon sparks, speed it up with each bounce, explode it into particles on every point scored. All right, this is going to be a bit more interesting. So we're going to go into Minimax 2, and bear in mind, like, I'm rinsing the credits here. We're smashing through the credits. We'll run that. Then we'll go over to Open Router, start a new chat. We'll do this on Gemini. And we'll do this inside Claude. Back in 2 minutes. All right, peeps. Back in 2 minutes. Bear with me. All right, I'm back in the game, peeps. Back in the game. So if we have a look here, we've got the Hyperpong game ball, isn't it? That's looking super nice, right? Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Incredible. What a time to be alive. Ah, yeah. Yeah, we scored a point there. Don't worry about that. This guy's hard to beat. Anyway, that's a very addictive game. That's pretty fun. If we have a look at Claude, Claude is still coding out. If we have a look at Minimax, it's finished. All right, so we're gonna open this up. We'll check out what we got here. We'll go to the preview. Why is it not allowing me to preview? Let's open this up in. Look, why is it only created that HTML? That doesn't look right to me. So look at LiveWeave, and that is no bueno, is it? That is no bueno. We'll give it another chance. We'll go to. So it's bearing out on the agent as well. I do think the agent is way better from what I've seen for the outputs, right? Way better so far. So I think, honestly, if you want to get the best out of Minimax, you're probably going to use the agent, not the API, or you're going to use the API in something like Visual Studio Code, which is more like trained to guide it, because inside OpenRouter, the outputs are really bad, really bad. So we're waiting for that to load, waiting for Claude. Oh, Claude has come back to us now. I do think that Gemini is going to be hard to beat here. So let's have a look. Oh, look at that. We got an error inside Claude. It broke straight away, my friends. So Pong game, Gemini has won again. And so you can see Gemini, right? Like it's absolutely crushing. It's absolutely crushing. We'll wait for Minimax to come back, but so far it's coming in last because it didn't even create something that works. And let's keep going through now. So we'll leave that running in the background. So now we're going to do a creative writing showdown, right? I'm going to say, write a story about a solopreneur who discovers AI and transforms their business. Make it inspiring but realistic. And hopefully, Minimax gives it itself a chance to redeem itself. But let's see. So we're just going to go into normal writing mode here. Again, Gemini, I mean, it's just a beautiful game. Like, I can't stop playing it. We're going to X off of that. And then we'll do the same inside Gemini. Claude, obviously it broke. Okay, great. But we'll try this out now. Minimax says it's like they're letting you fly their plane for free, but making you pay for the fuel. Did you? That's a good analogy. I like that one. All right. So this is the story test. Let's see what we got here. I like the way it formats it. Like, it does look nice on the formatting. So it says Maya Chen had built her graphic design business the hard way. Nights hunched over the laptop, weekend sacrificed client revisions in an inbox that never stopped demanding attention. And then it talks about the accidental discovery. Quite. Let's have a look at the end. Oh, it's a long one. That is blasting out a lot of words, isn't it? That is a long, long story. Let's have a look at Gemini. See, this is way more interesting, just even as a hook, right? So, for example, if you have a look at the hook, right, the first line where it says, Mei Chen had a graphic design business the hard way, nights, blah, 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 right? Straight away, it's got those M dashes, which just make it harder for my brain to read. But also, number two, it's like quite a boring introduction to a story, and a story should grab people's attention straight away, right? The story is only as good as the attention it captures and maintains. If we have a look at Gemini, Gemini has said, Elena stared at the cursor blinking on the screen. It was 1:47 a.m., right? Her business, blah, 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 was telling a success, but she also had zero, blah, 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 right? And so, like, that's quite a nice story, quite a nice, interesting hook. If we have a look at this one, do you know what's interesting is, like, this one has said Maya Chen and Claude said Marcus Chen, right? They've used similar characters, even though the prompt doesn't mention anything about someone called Chen. That is strange, isn't it? And then if we have a look here, Marcus had been running this one-man marketing consultancy for 6 years. Blah, 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 trapped, blah, blah, blah. I think honestly the hook is way better inside Gemini. So I think for creative writing, Gemini has probably won that one. Let's have a look at the last line. She walked out the door, not to a meeting, but to a pottery class. She was an artist again. Let's have a look at the last line of Gemini, of Claude, sorry. The AI hadn't replaced him, it removed the ceiling. He still worked hard, the tools didn't change that. Okay, that's a little bit boring. And then I like the ending with the pottery class on Gemini. And then this feels more like a corporate blog, right? So again, I would say that Gemini won for the creative writing as well. And so if I had to pick any of these models, of course I'm going to go with Gemini, right? Gemini won for unique thinking, the Pomodoro app, the Pong game, and creative writing. And so, I'm not going to switch from Minimax anytime soon, but at least you know how to test this stuff and to check it out and how to create things with this using this, right? And if you want all the prompts from today, you can get it inside the AI Success Lab completely for free. All right. Ah, that's interesting. Scully says, Minimax use Mei Chen. I've seen her name many times in the copy. Marcus Chen is the other one. Claude will use the Chen in storytelling as well. Interesting. All right, so for picking an AI tool, let's talk about the old way and the new way. Old way is like you use whatever AI is trending on Twitter. You stick with one AI for everything. You pay for subscriptions just in case. You ask friends which AI is the best. You read reviews and never actually test, right? That was the old way of testing this stuff. Now, what I'd recommend is like, as you've seen today, test everything on your actual tasks. Use different AIs for different jobs, right? So, for example, if we go over here, it's like I probably use Gemini for unique thinking, but for writing, I'm going to use Claude, right? For coding apps, I'm going to use Gemini. For coding games, I'm going to use Gemini, right? So, different AIs are better at different things. And then you can start with the free versions first. So, for example, Minimax, Opus, and Gemini all have free options. You can score each AI on what actually matters to you, and then you pick based on results, not hype, right? So that's the way that I would look at it. Yeah, and if you want to get all the notes from today, feel free to get that inside the AI Success Lab, complete free community. Link in the comments description. Connects you with 40,900 members. As you can see, you can post inside the community, get help, get support, that sort of thing. You can post inside the classroom here, and you can get access to all the video notes, as you can see inside the classroom right here. Now, if you want to get personalized coaching, if you want to connect with me, if you want to get a supportive community that raises you up, then join the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments description. Inside here, you can get access to this amazing community where you can post questions, get help, get support. And also inside here, we have a win section, right? So for example, Justin is celebrating the growth of the members inside the group. Thank you very much, Justin. Portia was talking about her ChatGPT surprises with the yearly update. You can see Scott sharing his 100-day journey. You've got, for example, we actually post appreciation posts for the best members and the most active members and that sort of thing. You can also see Karen, for example, made a few client websites, built a custom GPT, and created 1 out of 50 tools that she's building out right now. So loads of cool wins inside there. And then also inside the community here, you can see we have an accountability group, right? So we have this accountability group, and that turns intention into action. So one of the things that a lot of people struggle with when it comes to AI is like they really want to use this stuff, but they don't know how. And so inside the community, what we do is we have a daily accountability group, thanks to people like Darren. And our members just create this group where they share their goals, they share what they're working on, they share what they're learning, and then we all help each other, right? So, for example, Justin explained some of the goals that he's working on. And these can be personal goals and that sort of thing. But the main thing is we're just learning, we're growing, and we're sharing what we're working on together, as you can see, right? So, Portia, Carlo, etc. We're all joining in and helping each other. And also inside the calendar here, we do 4 weekly coaching calls. So you can jump on the coaching calls, get help, get support whenever you need it. And then inside the classroom here too, you can see that we have a 6-week AI automation masterclass, which shows you how to go from a complete beginner to becoming a master inside AI automation, plus how to build your first AI agent in less than 5 minutes. And on top of that, we have all of these different trainings, playbooks, etc., everything that I use to automate my business with AI. So if you want to learn about AI automation, you want to use what's working for me right now, you get that inside the classroom, along with our best courses on like NA10, how to get clients, our coaching call recordings if you miss them. You can also get our best AI SEO automations and also YouTube, right? So we have a 6-week roadmap on how to use YouTube and how to grow it as well. All right. Wesley says, now here working on something and listening. Good to see you here. Wesley, great to see you. Isaiah says, are you planning to have agency? Yeah, so we do white label SEO for a lot of big SEO agencies. So if you're interested in that, feel free to book a call via juliangoldy.com. If you're looking to supply us links, we're not really looking for like people to supply to buy links from. Like we have approved partners already, so we're not looking to hire anyone else for that. But if you want to hire us for doing link building, whether that's white label or for your own website, feel free to book in a call via juliangoldy.com. So today I'm going to show you how to vibe code with Antigravity. So this is a free tool from Google that allows you to code with, for example, Claude or Gemini or all the other tools to build apps, tools, games, websites, pretty much anything that you can think of, you can build with Antigravity, excuse me. And so what you can do is inside Antigravity, you can code out different things you want to. So for example, this was actually a quiz, and then you can get the AI agent to test and code with you. All right. So today, what we're going to be doing is talking you through how to use this. And, this is changing how people build tools, websites, dashboards, and automations. And here's the crazy part. You don't need to know how to code. You don't need to hire developers. You don't need to spend months learning technical stuff. You just tell it what you want in plain English. Then multiple AI agents work together to build this stuff out for you. So one agent will write the code, another agent tests it, another agent fixes bugs, and they even take screenshots and videos to show you what they did. So today I'm going to show you exactly how it works. We're going to test it live right here. We're going to build some tools together you can actually use inside your business. Things like lead trackers, content, dashboards, client portals, all built with AI. And I'm going to give you the exact prompts that we use, plus a 30-day plan to go from zero to building your own business tools, even if you've never written a single line of code in your life. This is brand new. We're testing it live to see what it can do. Let's get straight into it. So if you haven't used it before, this is how it works. If we say, for example, okay, test this out, and this is the quiz that we actually built out previously, we're actually going to get the AI agent to now test out this quiz live, and it will just click buttons and work on testing out this tool that it built in the background, right? So you can see it's just launching, running the terminal commands, hosting this locally, etc., and then locating this, right? And now it's launched the AI browser, and it's going to navigate to the project that's built offline. So this is the tool that's built. This is a quiz, and it's actually going to use that quiz and start using it directly here. Again, I'm not touching this. I'm not messing around with this. It's just going off and doing everything. All right. So if we hit confirm like so, it's actually going to start analyzing the page, start videoing the screen, and then using this to test it out. All right. So today, what I'm going to show you is the Goldie Gravity Launch Framework. And this is my favorite and personal framework for building business AI automation tools with AI agents. Here's why it works. Most people think building apps takes months. They think you need developers. They think you need to understand programming. None of that is true anymore. All right. With Google Antigravity, you become the architect, right? So you tell AI agents what to build, they do the heavy lifting, and you just guide them and approve their work. And this framework has 5 phases. All right. So liftoff. So days 1 to 7, you're going to get the tool set up and learn the basics. Days 8 to 14, this is a 30-day plan. You're going to learn how to build first your simple tools, right? Phase 3, days 15 to 21, you create more complex business tools. Phase 4, days 22 to 28, you test everything and refine. And then phase 5 is like scaling, right? So days 29 to 30, you want to deploy and use this inside your actual business. All right. So, for example, if I wanted to build like a really powerful example, let me show you how this works. All right. So, these are some real tools I actually want for my own business. So, for example, for the AI profit boardroom, I want like a member progress dashboard, right? A tool that shows new members what to do first. It tracks their progress through the community, shows leaderboards and achievements. All right. So what I could do is I can go into Antigravity. We can open up a new window, which will open up a new project. We'll click on open folder. We'll type in member dashboard. We'll set up that folder like so. We're going to close this other one over here. So I'm going to, there we go. And then we're going to go back to Antigravity now. Open up that folder for the dashboard, as you can see. And what you can see here inside Antigravity is that you have over here your project files. Over here, you have the actual code. And then over here, you have the chat, right? And this is really where you're going to interact with stuff inside the chat. You can switch between planning and fast mode. I'm going to go with fast mode. And then we're going to type this in, right? Now, you want to give it a bit of context about you, your business, etc. So I'm going to say, okay, create a dashboard for this, but do it for the AI profit boardroom community, right? And then what we can actually do is go to the AI profit boardroom, grab some information about it, etc. Right? So we can take this information like so, plug that into Antigravity, get some info about it, right? And it can be messy inside the prompt, it doesn't really matter. And then what we're going to do is say, okay, build this, right? Then we're going to hit enter like so. And what this will do is start figuring out, okay, what are the dashboard elements? How do we integrate the gamification of it? You know, how do we begin the project setup, right? And it's going to run some terminal commands. But if you've got your settings enabled so that it runs terminal commands for you without you approving them, you're going to save a lot of time, right? So you can see here inside the settings of the agent, we have, for example, like terminal command auto. We have allow terminal commands, etc. Right? And that just saves a lot of time. And then, you know, that will just automate a lot of the prompting and that sort of thing. If you're not sure about this stuff, you know, you don't have to allow it. It's just this saves me time, and that's what I'm going to allow, right? And the same for the browser agent as well. We've got a bunch of approved websites. We've got the settings for it over here, and then we're just going to X off that. And you can see that's now beginning to build this out, right? So it's actually created images with Nano Banana Pro, and then it's going to build out the HTML for our project so that we can test it out. By the way, I saw Spoilers, you're asking about like how to start your social media from scratch, right? So what I recommend is if you go to the AI Pod for Boredom here, and then you go to the YouTube AI roadmap, it will show you how to build a YouTube channel from scratch based on what's worked for me, right? Also, if you want to learn how to, for example, automate your X account from scratch, you can get that inside this section. And the same for like shorts and all our other social media channels. We show you exactly how to automate all of that stuff using the AI Profit Boardroom teachings in the classroom inside there. So that's the best place to learn that stuff. So we can see that's now beginning to build out the dashboard here. And now we've got a dashboard as we requested, right? Now this is going to test out first, check it's okay, etc. But you can see how easy that was to build, right? And we've generated the dashboard here. We can actually stop this, so we can stop the agent, force it to close, etc. And then we can switch between the pages and that sort of thing. All right. So let's close that now. Have a look through. Yeah. All right. So it's built out the dashboard like so. So that's how you can build out a really quick dashboard. Again, some of those pages didn't work, so you just want to make sure you continue to code it out, or the AI agent will test it and continue to code out, but that's basically how it works, right? You could also, for example, create a live call scheduler. All right. So we could take that. We can go to Antigravity and we can say, okay, delete everything, but now create a live call scheduler for the AI Profit Boardroom. All right. We'll stop the agent over here and we'll just tell it to start again and build this call schedule for, right? Now, I wouldn't recommend starting again and telling it to start again, but it's just because I'm showing this live for you and I want to demonstrate like how easy it is to vibe code stuff out. Right. You can also, for example, like take screenshots and then upload them inside the chat here. So if you click on plus, you can add images, you can do mentions, you can actually mention workflows as well, which is pretty cool. So if you go to workflows here, you can set up workflows, and then you can see it's now beginning to code out the new version of the tool that we were building out. So I've actually got a 30-day Goldie Gravity launch plan, right? And this shows you exactly what to do each day. And each day, every day has a tool to use in a prompt to try, right? So for example, like in the liftoff phase, days 1 to 7, the setup and the basics, I've broken down exactly what to do every single day if you really want to master anti-gravity. This is inside the AI Success Lab, and it's completely free. but you can get like a 30-day plan on exactly how to implement this stuff for you. So it will show you how to, for example, like test out Gemini Pro and everything. By the way, this is the newly coded live call scheduler. So this is the AI agent testing it out now, and you can see that it's clicking through the pages, seeing what to do, etc. It's actually built in some ways that we could sync Google and everything else, and you see you can sync it to your calendar now. And then it also has a link to the Zoom room. Now that calendar itself looks really nice, right? Like the design itself looks super nice. It's built into the actual dashboard we created before, and you can see it's now beginning to schedule in the tools and everything else, right? If you ever want to take over the AI, you can, but you can see here, for example, it's got like these are the upcoming calls this week, right? And then it's got the sync options, plus we can download the calendar, and we've just vibe coded a calendar app in the space of like 2 minutes whilst I've been talking to you, right? And you can also, for example, enable email reminders or browser notifications, etc. inside this. It's got a live soon section, which looks super nice, and the whole UI looks great, right? And that was coded out using Google Gemini Flash. Now you can switch between these, so you could use, for example, like Claude Sonnet 4.5, Opus. You could use Gemini 3, 3 Pro, low and high. But actually, to be honest, like Gemini Flash is great because it's fast. It doesn't seem to hit the limit so much, and it's super quick to use and build out. So, you can see how powerful this is. You can vibe code almost anything that you can think of. And, the only limitation is really your creativity or figuring out like the best business cases to use it. So this is the 30-day plan. What I've actually done as well is inside the notes from today, I've added 100 different prompts for solopreneurs. So these are like prompts you can copy and paste directly into Antigravity and then customize your business. So you can see all these like lead generation tools that you could build, client management tools, etc., content management tools, you got productivity tools, right? All this cool stuff, right? So for example, here we can say, okay, build a to-do list app with add, complete, and delete functions, sort by priority. Right, so we could go back to Antigravity now. We can open up a new window. Opening up a new window means a new folder and a new project, and we'll type in to-do list app, right? We'll hit open like so. We're going to X off the old project. We're going to go into the new project. We can actually switch into planning first, which will create better outputs, right? So if you use a planning function instead, you will get better outputs. It's going to start planning the to-do list for the to-do list app, which we'll come back to in a second. But yeah, it's pretty amazing what you can do here. Now, what I want to show you is I want to share some truths that might surprise you, right? So some people say that building apps takes months of coding. The right belief instead is that AI agents build apps in minutes, right? So for example, Thomas Edison, he tried over 1,000 times to make the light bulb work, and each try took weeks or months of careful work. Today we flip a switch and we have a light instantly. And the same shift is happening with building tools, right? What used to take a team of developers months now takes one person with the right prompts minutes. And Edison didn't give up because the technology kept improving. You shouldn't give up on building tools because the technology has finally arrived, okay? Google Antigravity is basically the light switch moment for app building. Some people say, well, I'm not technical enough. This is the to-do list app, by the way, that's just opened in the background, right? You just need to describe what you want. That's the right one. So, for example, like Richard Branson, he always struggled with reading and writing his whole life, but he built hundreds of companies. And he didn't do it by being the smartest person in the room. He did it by describing his vision clearly to others who could execute. Google Antigravity works the same way. So you don't need to understand code. You need to describe what you want clearly. The AI agency, your technical team, your job is to be the visionary. For example, Branson would love this technology, right? He's a visionary. Other people will say, well, AI tools are just hype. The right belief here is that a fundamental shift in how things are getting built has changed with Antigravity, all right? So, if you look at Walt Disney, for example, he was told no by everyone. And they all said his dream of a theme park was a fantasy. It would never work. But Disney saw something they couldn't see. He saw a future where families would pay to experience magic, right? And AI tools today face similar doubt. Some people say it's just autocomplete. Some people say it always breaks when you use this stuff. Some people say it can't do real work, and some people say it will never replace developers, right? But the people using these tools right now, they're building businesses faster than ever before. They're creating tools that competitors can't even imagine. And Disney didn't let doubters stop him. So don't let doubters stop you from exploring what's possible. So if we go back to the tool now, we've got the to-do list. So let's test this out. Okay, so we're going to say check out anti-gravity as a to-do list. We'll select high priority and low, hit add task, boom. Does it work? Yes. Does it look nice? Yes. Did it work first time round? Yes. Did we code it for free with anti-gravity? Yes, my friends. All right. And we've done the same with all of these tools and apps that we've built today. All right. So like, you can create amazing stuff with this. You can create magic with this if you know what you're doing. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get all the video notes from today, that is exactly how to vibe code with anti-gravity. You can basically vibe code anything you want. And inside the AI Success Lab, which comes with a community of 40,000 members, it's completely free. You can post in the community, you can connect with 40,000 people. Inside the classroom here, you will get access to all this cool stuff. And if you go inside the December section here, you can see all the notes from today with the prompts, the tools, the tips, the framework, right? So this is the Goldie Gravity Launch Framework. You've got, for example, the build ideas that we actually built. You've got all the prompts from today as well. And you have the 30-day roadmap plus all the beliefs that we've talked about as well, right? So it's basically a full guide, a full, very in-depth guide on exactly how to use anti-gravity. It talks about the wrong beliefs, the right beliefs, and how to overcome them, right? To get results with this stuff. Now, if you're wondering, okay, like, do people actually get results? Do people actually build stuff with this? Well, you can actually check out the AI Profit Boardroom, and we have over 108 pages of testimonials from happy members inside the AI Profit Boardroom, right? So, for example, Elsa, she said, wow, this community is next level, right? Mike said, Julian, your content is amazing, right? Eric said, programmed a WordPress plugin with Manus. Steven said he'd never heard of N10 before, and now he built something that actually saved him 10% of his time, right? He's freed up 10% of his time using the automations from the AI Profit Boarder. You see, Andrew got his first win by creating his first AI avatar video. You've got Umle, who said, like, how good the week one lesson is for AI agents. And like there's so many people getting results in this stuff. Darren as well, he said, wow, that's so exciting. And it's a credit for you to all your wonderful training support, and it's a credit to this community who share like no other I've seen, right? Congratulations. And so we've got 108 pages of stuff like this, all these different testimonials. As you can see, it's pretty much an endless scroll at this point. I don't think I've even had the chance to read them all, but the main thing to note here is, like, if you want to join a community of winners, if you want to see what people are building with this stuff, if you want to connect with some of the best AI automators in the world, join the AI Profit Boardroom, because inside the community, you get the accountability group. You can post, you can ask questions, you can share your wins, you can share your goals, you can read the value posts, you can get the weekly updates, right? And also inside the classroom here, you get all of my best trainings on AI automation. So, for example, we show you how to get results with AI and go from beginner to expert in just 6 weeks, right? And we show you how to build your first AI agent in under 5 minutes. On top of that, we show you our playbook, right? And this is our playbook for automating Twitter, newsletters, shorts, AI avatar videos, screen shares, automating videos with AI, etc. Right? We have training on, for example, lead generation, social media, NA10 templates, agency courses. We've got stuff on how to get clients, AIC automation, YouTube, etc. All this cool stuff. And then also, if you need help in real time, or you want to jump on a call with someone, you can actually jump on 4 weekly coaching calls, as you can see right here. So you can jump on these coaching calls, get help support whenever you need it, and get your questions answered in real time. And if you can't make the coaching calls, no problem at all. You can watch them back inside the call recording section here. So amazing community. Feel free to check that out. That is at the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comments description, or you can go to aiprofitboardroom.com. Google just dropped 3 massive updates in one time. So, for example, inside NotebookLM, you now get data tables. I'll be running through exactly how to use them, as you can see right here. On top of that, we also have workflows inside Google Studio. So these are Google flows that you can use to automate, for example, keyword finders or email recaps or daily news updates, etc. And then also inside Gemini here, you can now load notebooks, and you've got this dynamic views feature that 99% of people are not using. All right. And I'm going to show you exactly how it works step by step today, plus how you can implement this to help automate your business. And nobody is talking about how they work together. Here's the thing, most people use NotebookLM alone, or they use Gemini alone, or most people don't even know Workspace Studio exists. But when you connect all three, you get an automation system that does the work of an entire system, right? And an entire team. So here's what we're testing live today. You're going to discover how to automate your entire research workflow with NotebookLM and Gemini, how to build custom AI agents that remember your business, how to connect everything with Workspace Studio, how to turn messy notes in slide decks, videos, and data tables, how to set and forget automations that run in the background. And the best part is that you don't need to be able to code. This works inside Gmail, Drive, Docs, and Sheets. And if you've tried AI tools before and felt overwhelmed, or even if you think AI automation is too technical, or even if you only have like 30 minutes a day, this stack makes it very simple. So let me show you exactly how this works. All right. Now we're going to be using something called the Goldie stack. All right. So this is the Goldie triple stack framework, and this is what we're going to be using today. All right. So NotebookLM is like your research brain. You can upload any document, video, or website. It reads everything and becomes an expert. It now runs on Gemini 3, and you can create audio, podcast, video views, and slide decks automatically. How do you do that? So what you do is you just go to NotebookLM. You're going to load in some sources. So you can just add sources here. You can load from YouTube or your website or copy text, etc. Right. And then over here, what you can do is you can just click audio view, video view, flashcards, quiz, infographics, data table, and slide deck, right? And this will just run in the background whilst I'm talking to you and generate this automatically. If you want to see an example of what that looks like in practice, if we scroll down over here, we've got the example of the video that you can see here. And this talks through like how to do meal prep, right? And it's basically an automated video with a narrated voiceover, and we just automated it in one click. Sporter says, Julian, I wish you tons of success. What I have learned from you, I've been able to share with many, and it's life changing how simple you explain things. Thank you. Happy to help. Ozer says, which country you target from your agency to get clients? Mostly US. Most of our clients are from the US, but we deal with clients all over the world. And then you can see this is beginning to build out, right? So this is video. And then if we go back, we've automated all of this cool stuff right here. Right. So we also got, for example, Workspace Studio. This is basically your entire automation engine. So it can connect Gmail, Drive, Sheets, chat together. You describe what you want to play in English. Gemini builds the automation for you. It runs automatically based on triggers you set. And when you stack all three together, Gemini, Notebook, and Workspace Studio, your research flows into your custom AI team, which flows into your automations, which runs your business while you focus on what matters. And let me show you exactly how to set this up. So this is using the triple stack implementation plan, which shows you from day 1 to 30 how to automate all of this stuff, right? So if you want to set up your first notebook, what you do is you just go to new notebook over here. So we're going to go to NotebookLM, create new, and then we can set this up. So if we go to YouTube here, we're going to just grab in a source. Let's see what we got. All right, so let's say, for example, we want to learn about Google Antigravity, right? We're going to take this link over here. We're going to copy the video URL. Then we can go back to NotebookLM. We shall copy this, paste this into YouTube. And there we go, right? We can just insert that as a source. So that's how you can quickly set up a new notebook. I'd recommend uploading 3 to 5 pieces of content about your business. That could be website, could be case studies, could be service description, could be testimonials, could be any training materials you have, right? And then you can actually set up these custom instructions. And this is a copy and pastable prompt from the AI Success Lab. But if you go inside here and we click on settings and then we click on custom, we can choose how we want it to respond, right? So we can say, okay, you are an expert on Goldie Agency's SEO agency. When I ask questions, give me answers based only on the documents I've uploaded, which are right here. Be specific and refine the sources, right? And then, from there, you can easily create your first audio overview, which is like a podcast you can quickly generate in the background, right? Like you can see over here. And you can see we automated that infographic. Now we have that infographic ready to go over here, and it breaks down everything nicely from the sources we brought in. We also, for example, have the data table. And what the data tables are about, this is a new update from NotebookLM. Basically, these data tables help you understand the data inside your notebook in ways that humans would not normally be able to correlate things. All right. So you can see here, it's like basically analyze all the data and put it into a beautiful table that we can then use to break down everything. Right. So, for example, it's taken the meals, the meal prep, broken down. Okay, here's how the portion, the calories, etc. And then also you can edit the data table. So you can say, okay, create a table with the major findings in these research papers, right? You can say extract the most important quotes from my readings, right? You can say list vacation destinations in Italy with city, best time to visit, attractions, and costs, depending on whatever your notebook's about, right? But the main point is you can use it to organize your data. All right. Now, we're going to keep going through now and seeing what we've got. And so if you go to my flows now inside Google Flows, we can also describe and create whatever we want using these flows. And these basically help you automate all sorts of things inside your business, right? So if we go inside here, we can describe a task that we actually want to automate, or we can just go inside here and we can choose whatever we want. Right. So we could say, okay, start emails for follow-up, auto add email attachments to Drive, notify me about messages with a keyword, right? So we could say notify me about messages, and then, it could be a certain client or a certain specific person that you're looking for emails for. If we actually go to my flows on here, you can actually see that we have, like, for example, a daily AI news blog post creator, right? And basically this is kind of like a no-code N8N automation. It's very similar, right? And you see here, it runs on a schedule. So at 9 a.m. each day, so this repeats daily, ends after 1 year. It's going to ask Gemini to research the web for the latest trending news, as you can see, and then create a Google document inside my Google Drive with the content it found, right? And then it says Daily AI News Blog, and it comes up with the date as well of the document. Now, if we wanted to see the history of that, what we can actually do is click on activity, and we can see the previous generations of this automation. So, for example, if we have a look at this one, you can see here that it's broken down all the information from the latest news update. Here's one from 2 days ago, right? So this talked about all the new agentic updates, right? And also, if we have a look at this one, it's talked about, okay, here's the latest news. So we've talked about the people getting replaced by code, right? What the updates from Salesforce, Microsoft, and Amazon, etc. And this is all inside this post right here. The main thing to note here is like you can pretty much automate anything that you want just using this process. So if we said, okay, let's have a look. Let's say we got, okay, let's say get a daily summary of unread emails, right? Let's say we wanted to run that automation. Well, we can run it like this. We just click on the template. It's going to run at this time. We can change the time if we want to. We can change the date that it starts on. We can choose whether it repeats every weekday or daily or just weekends, and when that's going to end, and also what time zone it's running in. Then we can get it to recap the unread emails. So it's actually got a pre-filtered prompt like so, and then it's just going to notify us in the chat once that's done. So it's really simple and easy to implement this stuff and super powerful as well. All right. Now, what you can also do is you could set up a custom persona in NotebookLM. So you can go to NotebookLM, settings, customize chat, and then you can say, okay, you are a niche assistant. You help with target audience with main problem you solve, right? And then when answering questions, here's what it's going to do, right? So let me show you an example. So if we go over here, right, we'll copy this prompt like so. We'll go to NotebookLM, go to the settings. Then we're going to go to custom, paste in this, and we'll say, okay, you are an AI automation expert assistant. You help entrepreneurs with overwhelm, saving time, and automating with AI, right? And then when answering these questions, here's what you're going to do. We're going to hit save like so. And then we'll say, okay, what are the best ways to use Antigravity to promote my AI automation courses, right? And what it would do is actually answer in the specific way that we asked it to using those custom settings, right? Using the custom generation. As you can see, so it's like, okay, you could build a landing page, right? Here's how to do it. Here's why it works. Here's how to refine it. You could create a qualifying quiz, right? And this would engage people plus see if they're ready for becoming a customer, right? right? And then it's like, okay, here's how to do it, key features, why it works, right? And so it breaks it down exactly how we wanted it to do it. And it's really powerful. And then it shows you how to get started, plus the next actions. Now, you could use that to train your team. You could use that for ideas. You could share this link with your team, or your audience, and basically create something amazing that people can use to really help them. Top of that, you got all these different ways you can use it. I've actually created a 30-day plan inside the AI Success Lab. Link in the comments description if you want to get free access to this. But you could, for example, create, like for me, running an SEO agency and an AI automation community, I could, for example, create an SEO client onboarding notebook. I would just upload the client website, competitive data and keyword research, create an automatic audit using NotebookLM, generate a slide deck for client kickoff, and that would be perfect for Goldie agency workflows, right? So I could just go over here and generate that slide deck pretty quickly. If we go back here, we could also, for example, create a content repurposing flow, right? So we could say, okay, when there's a new YouTube video transcript added to Google Drive, ask Gemini to create 5 social posts, save the post to a Google Sheet, and notify me in the chat once ready, right? We could also automate lead response automation. So when a new inquiry form is submitted, research the company with Gemini, draft a personalized response, and save everything to a lead tracker sheet, right? We could easily do that inside Google Flows. So there's all these different ways that you can do it, right? And so every new client, for example, before, we'd have to research our industry, analyze the competitors, create the strategy document, build a presentation, ask some questions, right? Every single time. And it'd be a nightmare. Now what you can do is just upload the client research to NotebookLM, and it becomes an instant expert on the business. You could create a flow on an SEO process and then automate that with writing, like you can see we've done with the daily summary of AI news that turns it into a blog post. You could, for example, set up a workspace studio flow and turn new client folders into automations. You could generate a slide deck in NotebookLM and just generate slide and client presentations in like 5 minutes. Or you could export the data tables to sheets, and analysis that used to take hours could be done in minutes, right? So if we click, for example, through to that previous data table that we created, which is this one, right? We can actually export that to Sheets. So if we click on Export to Sheets now, that's put it into a nice Google Sheet. We'll just click on this, and it will just separate the whole sheet into a nice little data table that we can then come back to and save all the information, right? How easy was that? So there's all these amazing things that you can do. Some people say, well, I've tried AI tools before and they didn't work. The old belief was like, I'd used ChatGPT once and it gave me generic AI slop. AI doesn't understand my business, blah, blah, blah. The new belief that I would recommend is like generic tools give generic outputs, right? Trained tools give you. Here's what most people do. They open ChatGPT, they ask a question, they get a generic answer, they give up. But here's what they missed, right? ChatGPT doesn't know your business, it doesn't know your clients, it doesn't know your processes. Whereas NotebookLM is different, right? You give it knowledge, your documents, your training, your examples, then it only answers based on your stuff. So, a painter with no paint can't make art. An AI with no context can't make useful outputs. So feed it your knowledge and then watch it transform. So that's basically it, and exactly how to use this. If you want to get the notes and the prompts and the 30-day plan and everything else from today, feel free to get it inside the AI Success Lab. This is a community with 40,900 members, really active community, lots of people posting inside here, sharing information, etc. And then also inside the classroom, you can get the video notes from today, along with all these other tools. And by the way, every single one of these tools that I've mentioned, for example, at Antigravity, we have a full 30-day roadmap and prompts and a framework, a custom built framework for using and getting results with this stuff, right? Plus, we sort of help you conquer all the problems that you might have, right? So if you have limiting beliefs that might be holding you back when it comes to growing your business, we actually run through how to get results despite them, right? So for example, if we type in beliefs here, you can see we have a break in the belief section, and we just analyze, okay, here's the old way of thinking, here's the best mindset to get results with AI automation. And I think that helps people more than anything. So feel free to get that. That's inside the AI Success Lab. And then if you want to connect with me personally, if you want to connect with an amazing community of AI builders who are serious about growing their business, join the AI Profit Boardroom. Inside the AI Profit Boardroom, inside here, you'll get, for example, all the community notes, right? And you can share your wins. You can join the accountability group, like you can see. So each day we post our goals and share what's working for us and everything else. We also have this goal section where you can post your goals and what you want to work on. And we have a question section where if you need help, if you need support, if you need anything, you can get it inside the question section here. And then additionally, you see how active this community is, and it's really the people that make it, right? On top of that, you can jump on coaching calls so you can get help and support whenever you need it inside the AI Profit Boardroom, and you can jump on live calls. And then inside the classroom here, you get all of our best trainings and workflows and tips and automations on how to use this stuff. So, for example, you can see that we show you how to build your first AI agent in 5 minutes. We show you how to go from a complete beginner to becoming an expert with AI, right? We'll also show you, for example, the playbooks that we use for growing our YouTube channel, our Twitter, our newsletter, how to automate your emails, how to create avatar videos to get a lot of attention, right? And on top of that, we have trainings on, for example, like how to get clients, NA10, email and content automation, AI agents. We have trainings on, for example, AI SEO, YouTube, and how to grow a YouTube channel from scratch if you've never done it before, right? And we show you a 6-week roadmap on how to get results with this stuff. So this is all inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Feel free to get it. Link in the comments description. I appreciate everyone watching today. John says, morning, Julian from UK. Well done with Gemini and Azure training recently. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you watching. And I'll see you on the next one, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.